welcome to the first video in this Python tutorial series. It's kind of an introduction showing you how to download Python, how to install it, and then we're going over to talk about data types and variable. So don't worry if you've never programmed before. I'm going to be going over everything slowly and in depth so that you can understand. I recommend that you follow along with everything I'm doing. Please pause the video at some certain point, rewind it if you don't understand. It's important you understand this part so that you can move forward into more complex details in the future. So obviously, before we start, I'm going to be installing VS Code. It's an IDE that enables us to write our Python code. So head on to your web browser, type VS Code, and then you type VS Code, click on the first link that comes up, and then you install the version that is acceptable by your system. Yeah, then I'll be downloading mine now because I already have it installed in my system. So after you've downloaded Python, head on to the official website of Python, that is python.org. Then go to the download section and then just click on the one that is compatible with your system. So I already have mine, so I will be downloading mine now. So if everything is downloaded successfully, let's begin. So after successful installation of your Python and your VS Code, you follow the guidelines that are being shown on the screen, and then you can successfully install your VS Code. And I don't think you need any other thing for the Python. Then head on to your VS Code. Yours should look almost similar to mine. After you've successfully followed the guideline to install it, everything should look almost similar to mine. So towards the left section of my VS Code, you will notice that there are some icons to my left. So just click on the first one, or it might not be the first one for you, but search for the Explorer icon, click on it, then locate open folder. So once you click on it, then you get something similar to this on your system. So basically, you're just going to save it where you know you're going to find it where you want to use it. So I'll be saving mine in my desktop. Then you create a new folder so that you can so it will look more uniform or neat rather. And name it anything you want. I'll be naming my Python tutorial, and then I'm going to create a folder, and I'm going to open it here. Then if something similar to this comes up on your VS Code, that you just click on yes, I trust the author. Then firstly, before we can run our Python code, there are some few things we need to do. So we need to download some few extensions to enable us to run our Python code in this IDE. So head on to an icon similar to this. It's called the extension icon. So head on to it, click on it, and type code runner. We're going with code runner. Then once you've seen it, install it, and once it's successfully installed, this enables us to run our Python, and not only just Python, it enables you to run all these programming languages you're seeing here written in the description. So once you've successfully installed it, also check for the extension called Python. Yeah, just the name Python. Then something similar to this should come up. Then you also click on it. This enables us to run our Python code. So once you've downloaded something like this, a play icon should come up somewhere here in your VS Code. If it doesn't come up, that's fine. Then you just go back to your Explorer. Then you locate this icon beside the name of your file, and then it enables you to create a file. Just you could name it anything you want to name it. I'll be naming my app.py. So any file saved with .py extension is typically a Python file. So it tells the computer that everything inside that file should be read or should be compiled as a Python file. So you press enter. So this is a typical Python file. So if you've successfully installed your code runner and your Python extension successfully, you should see a play button at the top right corner of your VS Code. So this enables us to run our Python code in our VS Code. So basically, in Python, we have I'll be talking about four basic data types. Later on in the tutorial, we'll go into more about it. So basically, data types are the nature of our values. So we're talking about integer, and we'll be also talking about the float, and also we'll also be talking about the strings, and we'll also be talking about boolean. Yeah. So basically, integers are anything that any value that is a whole number. I'm not talking about 1.0 or 1.5. Any whole number like 1 or 2 or 13. Those are basically just integers. And floats are any integers with decimal point, like basically numbers that have decimal points, like 1.0, 1.5, 8.0, 8.13. Those are all floats. Yeah. So then strings are basically anything that is encapsulated inside a quotation mark or a double quotation mark. So those are what strings are, and the even the number can appear as a string depending on how you put it. So booleans are also true or false statements. They are keywords in programming. When you write them, you see your text editor is going to highlight them in a separate colors. So they're either true or they're false. So I'm going to be writing a couple of things here. So it's kind of like a short quiz. You pause the video, then you see which one is a string, which one is which one is a float, or which one is a boolean. Yeah. So, so there's a couple of examples here. So on the screen I have a bunch of things. Yeah. So I would suggest you pause the video and you see which of them. Try and see which of them is a variable or a float or a string or a boolean. Alright, so the first one is actually a string because it's encapsulated inside a double quotation mark, and it can also be encapsulated inside a single quotation mark. So the second one is an integer, and the third one is actually a string also because it's encapsulated inside a single quotation mark. The third one is also a float because it's a decimal point, and the fourth one is a string. Yeah, I know it might look a little bit confusing because I've seen true inside, but it's still a string because it's encapsulated inside a quotation mark. And the last one is a boolean. Yeah, false. It's a boolean. So to write a variable in basically a variable in programming language is anything that holds value. Just like in math, we have variable. The same principle of variable applies in programming. They hold value and they hold information. And in programming, every variable has a particular kind of data type, just like as I've discussed earlier on. Write a variable, you just write the name, whatever you want to call it. I'll be going with like maybe I'll go with text. So text right here is the name of our variable. Then we use the equals to symbol. So the text name by our left is the name of our variable. Then we could probably just name it. Let's go with name. So in Python, this is a string. Basically, to print out, to show what you've written in your console, you just use the keyword print. So there's a keyword to show us what we've typed, what we've written in our Python code. So anything you write inside the print statement is going to be shown to us on our console, as on our terminal or in our console. So you can write the name of the variable inside the print. So you're going to write text, and then you save your code and you click on the drop down menu beside the play button on your VS Code, and then you run Python file. So below your Python file, below your VS Code, sorry, if you look to the right of mine, you see the name variable there is being printed out. Same thing applies to let's go with let's use an integer right now. So if we say, let's say number, we could say, let's go 50. Yeah, 50. Then we could also print out 50 if we want with the keyword print to your open and close bracket. Then you could just say number, you save your file, and then you run your code. Yeah, you see it's been printed out. And one also very important thing I want you to note in Python is that there's something we call comment. Anything written in the pound sign is actually a comment. Once you run the Python code, it won't be printed out or it won't be executed. So over in our screen here, I commented on the variable number. If you save it, you're going to have an error because obviously uh, there is when we said print number, but we've commented the number. So that means it's Python. Python code is asking us like, where is it? Like we can't find the number. Where is the number? What are you saying we should print? Obviously, if you print, you're going to get an error. So let me show you quickly. If you run your code, you're going to have you see there's an error. Name number is not found. It can't find number because we've already commented it. So any line or that is being commented in Python on your screen or anywhere wherever you're programming your Python code, it won't when you save your code and you run it, it won't run or it won't be read because it's a comment. You can then uncomment it and you save your code and you run it again, you see that it runs successfully. So yeah, then also if you want to let's go to boolean. You see print let's say is eaten equals to false. We save it and let's print it out. Let's see. Let's print see is eaten. Save a code and run it, then it's gonna print false, just like what that's because that's the value of our is eaten. So yeah, basically these are this is what we call, so yeah, basically that's what the concept of variable is and data type. In our next tutorial, we're going to be talking about the basic operators and input, how to collect input from the user. In the meantime, I would suggest you practice because without practice, you can't learn and you can't make perfect. So happy coding. See you in the next tutorial.